Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Rosalind, for the warm welcome, and thank you to Magic for the opportunity to share today. So today, basically, what I'll be covering is to introduce you what is Growth Wheel and how Growth Wheel can help you ensuring that you have actionable strategies in your business. So if I may share my slides. Right, so today what I will be sharing with you this, I believe 45 minutes to an hour is about actionable strategies, actionable strategy with Growth Wheel. And before I go into detail of Growth Wheel, let me just introduce a bit about my company, Stratnavigo Consulting. So the word Stratnavigo itself has the meaning of strategic profit. The word navigo is navigator or profit. So that's why we chose the name Stratnavigo, because we believe in actionable strategies. And what we focus on is SME capacity building, specifically in business design, in starting and sustaining and scaling business. So we use a lot of tools, and one of it is Growth Wheel as a platform to facilitate entrepreneurs to ensure that instead of just having strategies, how do you execute it? So I'll focus in making sure that you are able to execute the strategies that you have selected for your businesses. I was formerly with Center of Entrepreneur Development and Research of SME Bank, and I have spent a lot of my time actually in entrepreneur development. And one reason why I am a strong believer in Growth Wheel, because during my experience developing programs for Institute Keusahawanan Negara, I found out that the challenge that entrepreneurs face is that they have to make so many decisions and take so many actions, but they're not sure where to start or how to start. A lot of tools out there. Do you apply all? Do you use all? Do you execute? What's the difference? What's the similarity? So what I discovered is that the importance of having a business coach, a business advisor, and even more so in this digital era, a platform that is able to connect between a business advisor and the entrepreneur, so that the entrepreneurs are able to make good decisions and take action. It's really important that whatever strategy that we have is that we execute it. Otherwise, it'll be just words on paper. So that's what, from my experience around 20 odd plus in the entrepreneur development ecosystem, that I find that we want to bring in with Magic to the audience. So Growth Wheel, the tagline is make decision and take action. It is a platform developed by an entrepreneur, and his name is David Maddy. He's a Danish entrepreneur, and his background is in IT. And he has started a very successful companies in Denmark and internationally, that people were asking him to do workshops on how to start and grow businesses. So he came about to make the long story short, that he developed Growth Wheel, which is actually a toolbox for entrepreneurs and small businesses to make decisions and take action. Growth Wheel is a worldwide recognized visual tool designed for business advisors to help entrepreneurs to make decisions and take action. Okay. Growth Wheel itself, it's currently based in New York, but it started off in Denmark, has trained and certified more than 3,600 business advisors, and is being used in 48 states in the United States, and also utilized in 65 countries worldwide, including Malaysia. So Stratnavigo is the business partner for Growth Wheel in Malaysia, the current business partner. So like I mentioned just now, Growth Wheel is a visual tool which you can use either paper or on the cloud. So they are capable of doing we are capable of doing advisory on the cloud, or even the pen and paper methodology. So it depends on the comfort of the entrepreneur. But the point is that it really depends on you, the entrepreneur, what your needs are. So we as business advisor, we are not the experts in your business, but what we do, we become your what we call partner, thinking partner. So just to share, as you can see here, we've got the frameworks, the documents, and also the cloud. Business advisors' role is actually to facilitate, to help the entrepreneurs focus on what's important to them at that particular point of time. So how do we do it? When you look at growth wheel, it's a circle with 4 segments with different colors. There are 4 colors, as you can see in the wheel, and it is a symbol of the 4 challenges that you face when you are going to start or grow your businesses. These 4 challenges are the same, no matter what life stage you are in, whether you're a startup, whether you're a scale up, and whatever size of company that you have, whether you are a micro, small, medium, and large. And also no matter what industry that you are in. So I'm sure all of you as entrepreneurs, you would understand what these 4 challenges are. And again, these challenges are not a surprise to everybody, especially if you've been running a business or you're an entrepreneur for some time. And the first is about creating an attractive business concept. You go to make a product, a service, or a technology that someone wants to buy. If you are an early stage company or a startup, you might be creating a product for the first time. But if you are a high growth company, you're working on improving your business concept that you already have. So there's slight differences in your focus, depending on where you are in your life cycle, your business life cycle. The second challenge that we see in, using the growth wheel framework is the same thing for all businesses, is to establish a strong organization that actually helps you deliver your business concept. So for example, if you are a new business, your challenge is about recruitment, how to recruit your first employee or partner. But if you are a growth company, it might be something that you do every single month, looking for new resources, looking for new employees and partners. So that's one challenge that all businesses face. Now, even if you have a great business concept and you have a solid organization of team and partners, your revenue can only come from one place, your customer. So the third challenge in the growth wheel framework is, which is common for everyone else, is building lasting customer relationship. It's about getting new clients, keeping them and growing them. And the final challenge, even if you have lots of customers, lots of sales, that's the last challenge, and it's to make money, to ensure that your operation is profitable. So this is the fourth challenge that we see in Growth Wheel Framework, which is the same for all businesses. So as I mentioned, these challenges are not something new. Especially if you are an entrepreneur, you have started or thinking of starting a business, these challenges are prevalent, irrespective of whatever business you are in. What Growth Wheel has done is that we have broken these 4 challenges into 20 focus areas that allows you to have a 360 perspective of your business. So that you will have an overall view of the business and helps you to avoid blind spots. So having something like this 360 perspective helps you to know things that you overlooked, okay? So to help us make smarter decisions. So just to mention, David developed the platform, but the tools and the perspective, he didn't develop himself alone. He crowdsourced from entrepreneurs, from consultants, and also from other entrepreneur development officers. Just to mention, in Denmark, the government actually uses Growth Wheel as the main platform for their entrepreneur development organizations in Denmark. So if you are an agency in Denmark, you are required to be certified business advisor using Growth Wheel. This is, the thought of that allows the Growth Wheel framework that we see, and it is actually a checklist. It's a checklist in a circle with colors. So it helps everyone to actually figure out how we can grow the business. So we have a checklist, and it allows us to actually focus on what's important to us at that particular moment. Okay, so that we are able to make better decisions and take better action. Everything is important all the time. The question is, what do we focus at this point of time? So with Growth Wheel, it helps us in determining what decisions we need to make and what actions we need to take. Sometimes we need to make decisions to decide on alternative ways to go. Sometimes we need to make decisions before we take action. Sometimes we need to take actions before we make decisions. So this is where, with a framework, with a structured, systematic framework, it helps us entrepreneurs, because I'm also an entrepreneur, on how do I grow my company? How do I perhaps start and also grow my company and make better decisions and take action? So that's, in a nutshell, what Growth Wheel is all about. And what we do is that we would work with the entrepreneurs, and the entrepreneurs will come up with what are all the decisions and actions perhaps you need to take. And we would prioritize which one is important for you to make now, and the actions that you need to take now, and prioritize those that you could do later. So with a very systematic and structured framework like this, it helps us entrepreneurs to make the right decision, to take the right action at the right time. So in a nutshell, like I mentioned, Growth Wheel is a visual checklist that gives 360 view of your business, and it helps us to get focused where to make decisions and to take actions. As I mentioned, checklist helps us focus, and the role of a business advisor is actually to give you the right tools to use at the right time. So you're not overwhelmed with the decisions and actions you need to take. You'll be able to have focus. We're here actually to facilitate making decisions and taking action. So in some ways, Growth Wheel helps in us executing the strategies that we have. So a lot of questions that I get, when I share about Growth Wheel is that, how does it relate to strategy? How does it relate to business model canvas, perhaps, or even blue ocean strategy? How does it relate? So just to share, for example, in business model canvas scenario, David, so if you see in the slide here, the guy who is wearing glasses is Alex Oswalder, the person who created co-created a business model canvas. And the other guy is actually David Maddy, the founder of Growth Wheel. So they are actually work together in looking at how business model canvas works together with Growth Wheel. So what I like to share is that when we look at business model canvas and we look at Growth Wheel, they are actually compatible. Okay, so it's not different tools. You don't use it separately. You can actually use it concurrently. But the difference is that business model canvas is more of a thinking tool. It's more on a higher strategy level. Whereas when we talk about Growth Wheel is more on how do you execute those strategies? How do you validate assumptions and the thought process that you have founded from your business model canvas? So to some extent, for example, if you are a startup, I always recommend that definitely you would start off with your business model canvas, and from there on, you come up with what would be your action plan using Growth Wheel. So I have a couple of slides which I can share with you how it works. The similarity between business model canvas and also Growth Wheel portfolio. Okay, so you can see here, for example, when we're talking about value proposition box in business model canvas, what are the tools we can use from Growth Wheel is about business idea, product portfolio. So in Growth Wheel, we have decision sheets that help the entrepreneur to make decision and take action. I'll show you a few examples after this. And then as you see, customer segment, there's executable decision sheets on customer portfolio and so on and so forth. So as you can see, it complements and works together. So a more detailed comparison. So the ones in colored here, yellow, green, red, and blue, as you can see, it works together with business model canvas. So as I mentioned, each focus area would have what we call decision sheets, where it helps the entrepreneur to realize what actions that they can take and what decisions that they can make in order to affirm, to validate whatever items in the business model canvas. For example, if you talk about value propositions, the discussion on how do you validate your product portfolio? How do you ensure that the product portfolio matches your customer portfolio? In Growth Wheel, we do have those decision sheets to help you in making those decisions and taking action. Typically, because this is something that Rosalind and I was talking about this, typically when people work on their business model canvas, what they do, they have this big canvas, they go crazy with the Post-it, right? They would just write ideas and they would paste it, they'll post it on the canvas and they think, okay, I'm done. I've done my business model canvas, okay? In actual fact, that's just the beginning, because business model canvas is a thinking tool. It is a living document, okay? The outcome of a business model canvas would be, what do you need to do after that? So the limitation of business model canvas on its own is that there is no clarity of how do you execute it after this? What decisions do you need to make? What actions do you need to take? What I typically see in some programs is that they go crazy. They go crazy with the Post-it notes. So how does Growth Wheel help is that for everything that you write there, you would need to come up with what decisions and what actions you need to take, either to validate or to move the strategy to the next level. Business model canvas is ideal for creative exploring of new and alternative business models. Whereas Growth Wheel takes it to the next level. It talks about how do you execute it. So there's several ways of doing it. Even if you're a new or you are a business that has been ongoing for some time, what we will do firsthand is do what we call a 360 screening, okay? So we would have this template where we will work with you, we will sit down with you, and in actual fact, when you come to our workshop, our webinar, the series, we will share with you this 360 screening format where you can do an as-is assessment of where you are with your business. So there is no wrong or right assessment. You assess yourself. It's just like a health check. Am I eating healthy? Is my BMI good? So how is our business when it comes to the 360 focus area that we have in our business? So that's the first step we always do. You assess yourself, give yourself 0 to 100% so that you'll be aware of your status. Okay, So that's the first step, assess where you are. And the second part is that we would say, as you are doing it, you would have questions. You would have things that maybe it didn't cross your mind, or you never thought about it before. So we always encourage, as you're doing your assessment, to write down the thoughts or the questions that you have, so that it will be helpful for further conversation, either with your team, your staff, or your business advisor. Okay. Again, the challenge that most entrepreneurs face, and I know this from my own personal experience, is that everything is here. And we sometimes find it difficult to download it, especially when there is no sort of form of structure, system of doing it. So having an as-is assessment like this, with the opportunity to download your thought process, it helps to create a language and a system with your team, either management team, your staff, or even with your business advisor, so that the communication, the challenges that you face with your business is clear. Okay, so that's the first step. Know where you are. Start where you are. Okay, so the screening pad helps you get focus. So once you've identified your as is, the next step is to find out what would you want to focus in the next 30 to 90 days. Okay, again, businesses are built one brick at a time. So you can't do everything now. You need to do some things which are urgent and important now, and then do the next important stuff later, and you prioritize. So having something like this will help us be able to prioritize the decisions and the actions that we need to take. And it's easier to communicate with our team because it is visual, it's there, it's written. Okay, so you don't really spend a lot of time creating pen and paper or a draft of a business plan, which is, from my experience, is always a lot of, to put it in Malay, hikayat hang tuah lah, cerita-cerita dongeng. So just to share, this is the part that sometimes people get afraid. They say, oh, so many tools. How do we focus? So in actual fact, in Growth Wheel, you see here, there are multiple tools, because as I mentioned, it's crowdsourced. So that's where it's really helpful. Once you guys actually identify your focus area, what we can do, especially for the future webinars, is to focus in the areas that you want to look at, the most fundamental areas you want to look at. And what we will share is the tools that addresses that first. Okay, so if you have the opportunity and you want to, share with Magic, what are the focus areas that you want to look at in the future webinars with Growth Wheel, just share in the chat, and I think we can collate, and we can focus on the areas that you want to look at, the tools that we can use. And I will share a bit more on the webinar after this. Okay, so as you see here, there's so many tools, but what we do, we don't give all, because you go crazy, you think you're doing a PhD. No, what we'll do, we'll just give you what is important to you at that point of time. Okay, right. So an example, as I mentioned here, if you have you want to use business model canvas with Growth Wheel, you will notice here that each box has particular decision sheets and articles that will help you along in developing strategies, making decisions, and taking action for each box. Okay, for example here, value proposition. If you look at box number 1, value proposition, things like mission, your idea description, the product qualities, your elevator pitch. So these decision sheets will actually help you develop your value proposition in your business model canvas. Okay, it will help you make decisions and craft an action plan moving forward. Okay, so as you notice here, each box would have several decision sheets that you can use in order to make decisions and take action. Again, growth wheel is all about executing your strategy rather than just creating strategy only. So we focus on what's important for you. And from my experience being especially, you know, as being a growth wheel certified advisor, a lot of SMEs still need to work on, even if they are already been in business for some time, they need to work on their business concept. Okay, so it's always still best to revisit your business concept, because especially if you, as you know, now with the pandemic, our business model, what was pre, is no longer perhaps relevant now with the pandemic situation. So again, our business model canvas is something which is a living document. And with growth wheel decision sheets, it helps you execute your business model canvas. Business model canvas is an awesome tool that is used to explore and exploit opportunities. Okay, it is a living document, and it is something which is used to be innovative and creative in our thought process. However, the limitation is the execution part of it. So with growth wheel helps with the execution portion because it has a systematic and structured way of addressing what do you need to focus at that particular moment. Okay, so it is customizable depending on your need as an entrepreneur. From my experience, again, a lot of entrepreneur development agency would like to think that when we do entrepreneur development, it is like a linear process. In actual fact, entrepreneur development is like a buffet. You work on what you need at that point of time. So there's no real linear process when it comes to your development. It comes to the point of what's important to you at that particular point of time. And the best person to determine that is not somebody outside. It's actually you as the entrepreneur need to determine what is important to you. And what other people can help you is just create options. Okay, create options of, you know, what sort of things you need to do to help you make sure you don't overlook certain matters. So that's where, for example, as I mentioned, growth wheel helps because all the thought process, all the tools has been crowdsourced by multiple consultants, trainers, and entrepreneurs. So it is like a comprehensive toolbox, I would say. I give an example. There's 26 identified revenue stream by growth wheel. In it itself, you don't need to think beyond 26. Okay, you can work at 26 and see how these 26 can match to what you need in creating new revenue streams in your business model. So how normally do we do it? Okay, so if you are working with an advisor, we definitely have this 6-step flow. We start off with onboarding, meeting, getting information, doing diagnostic. We do an assessment, that's the second part. And then we do a tool sharing. So tool sharing, as I said, once we've identified your focus area that you need, then we will share the tools to help you make decisions and take action. And we would encourage and work with you to facilitate what we call making your action plan. And there would be client analytics and also follow up. So that's basically what Stratnavigo does. And what we want to work with Magic is actually to have a series of workshops. Okay, to have a series of workshops, depending on the focus areas you want to look at. We're looking at all 4 areas. So each webinar will be focusing on one focus area, and we'll be discussing at least a couple of decision sheets that can be used by you as entrepreneurs in making decisions and taking action. So as I mentioned here, you can see that using growth wheel, there's no linear process. You can actually start where you want to start. Perhaps some people, they want to say, hey, I want to create my goal, my ambition. I don't know how to set my goal. So we can work with you on setting your main goals. So there's scoreboards to identify your ambition. Or you said, I don't know what's my problem, or I don't know what to focus on this point of time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed with everything. Can growth will help me get focused? Yes. We decide where you want to focus on by doing a 360 screening. Okay. And then you said, okay, I already know what I want to focus, but I don't know how, what options do I have? What decisions I need to make? So we can use a visual checklist to help you using the decision sheets, what options that you have, you know, what actions that you need to take. And then you said, okay, I know my options and I want to make decisions. I want to make sure that I have thought it through. So we work with you, or you work with your team on understanding the factors, giving weightage to what is more important to you, and make decisions. And finally, you said, I know the decisions I want to make. I want to take action. So you can also start off with, okay, what are the actions you need to take either before making decisions or after making decisions? So we do have a 360, 90-day plan and scoreboard to help you plan and track, okay? So what we offer is that pretty much it's ideal for you to make decision and take action. So that's why our tagline is executable strategies, helping you make your strategies. Once you've done your business model canvas, you perhaps already know what your strategies are, or perhaps you're using Blue Ocean strategy tools, which is also part of a growth wheel. And then you want to execute your strategy. Okay. So what I like to jump now to is actually the program that we're working with Magic. So what we're looking at is we're talking about actionable strategies. You know, how do you make your strategies actionable? So we're going to start off with assessment. So the next webinar will be about assessment. We'll work together. We'll be sharing with you the assessment. We'll be talking about ambition and focus area. And then the next one, we would actually go into your business concept. We will share with you, how do you review your business ideas, okay? How do you look at possible growth scenarios, and also action plan? Because to me, again, the outcome always will be, what would you do next? Definitely the webinar is only like 1.5 hours. There's a lot to unpack, because typical workshop that we do on each area, each decision sheet or each area would be around 3 to 4 hours. But what I like to do is just to share with you, so you would see the benefit of having something structured like this, you know. And inshallah, there's always something for you to take away. Okay, we will be sharing 1 or 2 decision sheets that you can take with you and for you to implement on your own. Okay. So the third one, we're looking at customer relationships, reviewing, looking at your current customer relationship or developing your network. What are the plans and activities you want to do? What are your plans to maintain? And again, action plan. What will be the 1 or 2 things you would do after the webinar, okay, that you can implement immediately? The fourth, we're talking about organization, because organization is important. And what we find is that the biggest challenge is to attract and maintain the right partner and or employee. Okay, so what are the tips and tricks? What are the decision sheets, and what are the things you can use in order to facilitate your organization in attracting and retaining the right talent? And finally, we're talking about operations, how to ensure your operations is profitable. And for this, I really like to look at, how do you manage your cash flow? You know, what are the decision sheets, or what are the frameworks we can use in order for you to help understand better decision making using particular tools. So it's not about creating your accounts. It's not about you doing debit credit, but rather how do you use information so that you can make better decisions and take better action. Okay, review how do you cut costs and an action plan for your business. So just to share, these are some samples of documents that we'll be sharing if when you join our webinar. We have a format called 360 90-day plan. There's a 360 screening tool you can use, and also there's a scoreboard. So basically, what doesn't get measured doesn't get managed. So you need to have like a scoreboard. Some people call it KPIs. So to help you measure whether you are achieving the milestone that you want to achieve, and to help you see where you need to improve or continue or reduce or remove, right? And here you see below here, there's an example of a decision sheet to help you do an elevator pitch. As entrepreneurs, we really need to know how to communicate. We need to know how to pitch our business, and we need to know how to gauge the audience, what's in it for the audience. So this particular decision sheet helps you in your elevator pitch. And there's framework also. As shown here, there's the framework for your marketing fan, and there's also articles that we can share from a timely basis. So as I mentioned, you can see here, when we talk about business concept, there are multiple decision sheets we can share, but we will focus only one or two because otherwise everybody will get overwhelmed. So that's pretty much that we are sharing with Magic series. I really look forward for all of your participation, inshallah, in the future webinars. And we will be sharing this in future with Magic, and I hope to see all of you guys soon, because what we want to do is we want to help you make the right decision, take the right action at the right time. So don't just let your strategy be written on a piece of paper or being left in your mind without being taken seriously by everybody in your team and your staff. So with that, that's my session.